The rail strikes have brought huge parts of Britain to a standstill recently, but this could be just the beginning.
I think there are going to be many unions balloting across the country because people can't take it anymore.
Britain's biggest trade unions are mobilising, arguing that pay and conditions for millions of workers are lagging behind the soaring cost of living. It could mean a wave of strikes not seen since the 1970s, when millions of workers walked out. This is the story of 3 public sector workers and their case for better pay.
More and more people are saying, actually, enough's enough, we've got no money.
When it gets to a point where you can't cover the bills and you're not even keeping up anywhere near with inflation, I feel like something has to be done.
I love my job. I can't give it up, not yet. That's why I'm fighting now.
In the late 1970s, inflation was soaring, just as it is today. Britain was on the cusp of a pivotal event that would see the government and the powerful trade unions going head to head.
The pickets wave through only ICI's own fleet of lorries. All other vehicles are stopped.
We've had no overhaul since Christmas, before Christmas.
Thousands of workers on Teesside will be joining the many who've already been laid off.
Back then, the unions demanded greater pay rises for their members, but the Labour government refused. And over a long and bitterly cold winter, strikes broke out. Train drivers, nurses, lorry drivers, even the grave diggers walked out. And towards the end of 1978, the bin men went on strike, and the rubbish piled high. This, the now famous winter of discontent.
As we said, we're fighting anyway.
Today, those very same conditions exist that could see another wave of industrial action.
So one of the things I've been doing recently is making like milkshakes and meal replacement things instead of eating at work, because it works out a lot cheaper.
Katie Sutton is a nurse in the NHS.
This is basically just a calorie shake, rather than eat a meal.
Yeah, I will make up one of these, shake it up, leave it in the fridge, and for less than £2 I've got 400 calories and it will keep me going.
Katie, to a lot of people this might seem quite bizarre because it's just a shake and that's what you're doing to save money, is it?
Yeah. This is cheaper than cooking one meal, by quite a way.
Katie earns £35,629 a year.
Maybe it's payday tomorrow, I've lost track, and I'm about £150, £200 in my overdraft at the moment. Which fortunately I get £250 without having to pay interest, but...
It sounds desperate.
Yeah, but...
And you would say a big proportion of this is not only that things are rising, fuel, but fundamentally you would say you are not earning enough.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
While average wages have increased, many public sector workers are worse off than they were a decade ago because pay hasn't increased as much as prices have. Real pay, taking inflation into account, is actually 3.1% lower than in 2012 for primary school teachers and 1.9% lower for secondary school teachers. Nurses and firefighters look to be marginally better off than they were a decade ago. But that's not the full story. The rise in the cost of living means that public sector pay, in real terms, is actually 4% lower than last year.
So we had a self-fire at the local prison, which we turned out to, which was out on arrival. That's probably a job, mate, sorry.
On the day we met Adam Hooks, he's already tackled a fire at a prison, and when he got back, he was immediately called out again. Now he's being tasked with removing a ring from a swollen finger caused by an insect bite.
Don't worry about it. I've only chopped 3 fingers off so far.
As an experienced firefighter, Adam earns a basic salary of £32,244 a year.
There you go, there's your ring.
Lovely.
Okay, you can take that back. Bless you. So I've been a whole-time firefighter for just over 4 years.
So what's changed for you in the last few months then?
It's difficult. Pretty much like you kind of having an overlook on everything now. You're kind of going back to basics and thinking, do I need this anymore? So when it gets to a point where you can't cover the bills because you're not inflation's that high and you're not even keeping up anywhere near with inflation, I feel like something has to be done. I'd like to have enough money to not have to worry about things.
The government says a hike in public sector pay would cause a spike in demand for goods and services, and that would cause prices to rise even more.
We can't fix the increase in the cost of living just by increasing wages to match the surge in prices.
But the cost of living isn't slowing down either. New forecasts suggest energy bills could rise to more than £4,200 in April, wiping out the £15 billion support package the government has pledged to help struggling families.
Where are my school shoes?
Well, you need your trainers, don't you? They're just there.
Because my school shoes.
Oh, your trainers.
Have come to meet Rachel Badzir, a special needs teacher, and her 2 children, Violet, aged 13, and Billy, aged 10.
How difficult is it to try to keep trying to find those savings and trying to balance the family?
Well, it is. I just have to make sure that I don't overspend. But you notice that where I could spend 30, 40 quid, I'm now spending £60 and I don't really think that I've bought anything different.
Rachel says her salary of £35,000 a year isn't going up enough to match the rising cost of living. Pay rises for public sector workers like nurses and teachers are determined by independent pay review bodies.
The pay body will be looking at nurses, railway workers, and teachers, and there will have to be priorities made. So I mean,
and I can understand there's not there's no finite purse. There never has been, and so it is that thing of where you've got to think, how can you prioritise? Yes, you might be a nurse and you save lives in that way. However, in the flip side of that, the reason that you are a nurse is because you had teachers to help you get through your life to get to where you are. More and more people are saying, actually, enough's enough, we've got no money. It's coming to be like a bit 70s Britain.
By the late 1970s, Britain, led by Labour's James Callaghan, was in serious financial trouble.
And I emphasise to you that if we fail to bring down inflation, we shall never succeed in overcoming unemployment.
Millions of working days were being lost to the strikes. And in the end, workers secured the wage rises they were fighting for. But it left Labour damaged. And they lost the next election. Katie has been offered a 4% pay rise this year.
Do you see strikes coming down the line in the nursing profession?
Yes, absolutely. I want to say that we just walk out, but then, who does look after the patients?
Appears to me that you're not ready to strike.
At the moment, I'm not, but that's at the moment. And if this continues, then I will take some kind of industrial action. But I'd prefer it not to be needed. I'd prefer the government just listen to us.
Do you think they will?
I don't know. I don't think so.
You ready? 1, 2, 3, go! Go! Go on!
Firefighters like Adam have been offered a 2% pay rise this year. The Fire Brigades Union called that offer utterly inadequate.
Good lad, high five, high five. Good man.
If the offer's not increased in the autumn, firefighters will be asked to vote on a strike.
If it came to it, would you strike?
It's a very difficult question because no firefighter wants to strike. A lot of us live in that community, so it has also an effect on ourselves as well, not just everyone else. And we do the job because we want to help people. We do need to be listened to, and there is a lot of firefighters that are struggling with the wages and just trying to pay the bills, never mind having any sort of luxuries with anything.
Today we're going to learn all about careers.
Rachel's part of the National Education Union. This autumn, members will be asked if they're prepared to strike. The union is calling it the biggest ballot of teachers in a generation.
Are you worried that the public, parents in particular, I think, might not have as much sympathy with teachers who want to strike as perhaps you would like?
Definitely. I can definitely understand that, because being a parent myself, you know the impact that teachers not being in school has on your own children, and you know the disruption that it can cause, and I do think that that adds an extra weight to my decision making.
So you're not decided?
I'm not fully decided.
That's my dad. He was in the Territorial Army, so I've got his medals as well.
For the first time since she qualified as a nurse, Katie is considering her future.
How would it feel if it came to the crunch and you had to give it up?
I don't want to think about that. I remember the look on my dad's face before he passed away, and I told him that I'd finally got the job, and he said, "Good on you, kid." I love my job. I worked so hard for it, and I made my dad so proud by getting it. I don't want to give this up. I can't give it up, not yet. That's why I'm fighting now.
Well, it's right that we reward our hard-working public sector workers with a pay rise, but that needs to be proportionate and balanced with the need not to make the inflationary pressures worse, and also to see what's affordable for the taxpayer.
I'm on the side of people who work hard, who go into work, who want to run their businesses. We can't see them hampered by the activities of these militant unions.
The next few weeks and months could see millions of workers balloted for strike action. A new wave of discontent in an age-old struggle.